a report describing the impact of prohibiting a person whose sex is male from participating in an amateur meaning not necessarily little kids on the playground, okay, want to be clear, amateur athletic competition that is designated for females, women, or girls, or the participation of females, women, or girls in that amateur athletic competition. So are we talking about a report? So I still, listen, now, maybe it's because the clerk didn't read the whole thing, and that's not her fault. She was told that was fine. I don't understand why and where my colleagues are going on everything else, and now they want to be the protectors of girls and women. I didn't hear them screaming this when Renee Good was killed in the middle of the street in Minneapolis. I didn't hear any protection for Renee Good, a U.S. citizen that was killed by the same people that the vast majority of you just voted to give more money to. I didn't hear the same thing. In fact, it was a lot of crickets, specifically including the women, as we were just lectured about what we need to do as women when it came down to the Epstein files. I heard crickets. In fact, we could not get any signatures onto that discharge petition to the extent that we shut down the entire House, and there was no business that was conducted in this entire country on behalf of our constituents. But let me be clear, the Republicans are going to protect girls and women, because that's what this is all about. It's not about the report, because the amendment says it's about a report. Like, miss me on being protectors. Just say that this is what you believe, this is what you're doing. But don't come at us and tell us as women what we should be okay with, what we shouldn't be okay with, because it's just kind of like the same thing where I should be telling a lot of women on the other side of the aisle, I don't know how it is that you are not protecting women as they need protections over their own bodies to make their own decisions.
The gentleman yield for a question?
I will yield for a question.
Well, thank you, Ms. Crockett, for those trenchant remarks. You know, our friend and colleague from New Jersey started by saying, what do most Americans think of as wrong? So he wants to ground people's approach to this bill on moral intuition. Well, what do you think the moral intuition of Americans is today about shooting Americans in the face for exercising their First Amendment rights, or stripping them of their lawful gun and then shooting them 10 times? You think the vast majority of Americans reject that?
Oh, I know they do.
You think that's why Donald Trump says he's going to de-escalate and they're trying to get out of Minneapolis because the whole country rejects the bloody, violent authoritarianism on display there?
Oh, absolutely.
Against women and girls and men and boys?
Yeah, and I can also remind my colleagues that feel so deeply about the children, the same children that they don't want to have $6 a day to eat and SNAP benefits, but I know that they care so deeply about children because as myself and Joaquin Castro traveled to the Dilley facility in Texas, where they had kidnapped a 5-year-old out of Minneapolis and took him, I don't remember any of my Republican colleagues going to check on the people and the children, maybe don't talk about their parents, but the children that are currently incarcerated. You know, after we left Dilley, I made it clear that as someone who has practiced criminal defense, I have been in actual prisons, I have been in jails. This was the first time that I've been in a facility that doesn't even offer educational opportunities. So you're snatching kids away from their schools sometimes. I do have a bill if y'all care about schools and care about the hospitals and care about the churches. I have a bill for that if y'all want to, sign up. But nevertheless, these children are being kidnapped and then they are being thrown into a place that now has a measles outbreak. They are not being given adequate care whatsoever, and the children don't even have access to education. In this country, even somebody who is a convicted felon can go and get a degree. And these kids, their education has been stunted because this administration, with the complicity of each of you on that side who refuse to acknowledge what is wrong, because I agree, some things shouldn't be right or left, they should be right or wrong. So if we want to talk about the amendment, because I think you don't want a report because the reports will reveal what most of y'all don't want to actually admit, which is that when it comes down to trans people in sports on the collegiate level, we have 10 in this country. Y'all want to sit up here and write bills as it relates to literally 10 collegiate athletes. That's all we have that are trans. Yet we have hundreds of people, thousands of people that are being incarcerated every single day, and we are subjecting our communities to abuse and being terrorized. But no, let's focus on the 10 trans kids.
The video highlights a complex and highly sensitive issue surrounding the participation of transgender athletes in female-designated amateur athletic competitions. It raises important questions about gender fairness and equality in sports, a subject that divides opinion. While it's crucial to ensure that all athletes, regardless of gender, have fair opportunities, it's also essential to consider whether the current policies are truly equitable for everyone involved. What stands out in the video is the critique of political hypocrisy. The speaker argues that while some lawmakers claim to be protectors of women and children, they ignore broader, more pressing issues like the mistreatment of incarcerated children or inadequate health care. This criticism points to the inconsistency in political focus, selectively addressing issues based on convenience rather than genuine concern for those most in need. Furthermore, the video emphasizes the disproportionate attention given to the participation of trans athletes in sports. The speaker highlights that there are only a handful of trans athletes at the collegiate level, yet the legislative focus seems to be on them, while thousands of children are suffering in detention facilities with inadequate care, education, and rights. This stark contrast forces us to reflect on whether we're prioritizing the right issues and focusing our efforts in ways that truly address the systemic problems at hand. In conclusion, the video serves as a powerful reminder that we must look at the bigger picture when discussing gender, equality, and fairness. Focusing solely on a small group without addressing larger, systemic issues does not lead to lasting solutions. It's crucial that we challenge ourselves to reflect on our priorities and make sure we're truly fighting for the rights and protections of all individuals, especially the most vulnerable.